Good afternoon and welcome to the October 2023 Pitt County DSS Board meeting. I would like to call the meeting to order. I would like to start by observing a moment of silence. Thank you. Do we have any public comments?
Yes, we have 3.
Okay.
Jason?
My name's Jason Caro. I'm the Executive Director of Caro World Early Learning Centers. We have 2 child care facilities located in Beaufort County, and we have 2 child care facilities located in Pitt County, and we serve Pitt County families at all 4 of our locations. So just something strange was happening. All the other counties we work with, quite a few, they were saying to us, you know, if you know any families, send them to us, because right now there's no waiting list. There's not going to be a waiting list for child care subsidy. Send us people if they need child care and you think they might meet the eligibility requirements. So great. I mean, that sounded good to us. We were doing that. Pitt County was the only exception to that, and I kept monitoring that, and Pitt County kept reporting waiting list, waiting list, waiting list, waiting list. And I went to the state and I said, I don't understand the difference in all of the surrounding counties and Pitt County. And the message from the state was, back in February of 23, they gave a directive that due to the statewide trends in child care subsidy, that they had told all of the departments of social services to work through the waiting list if they had one, and then to approve every family who met eligibility requirements from that point forward once their waiting list became 0. And this was true whether they were underspending or overspending, because statewide they are not spending all their funds, so now was the chance for counties to get to spend whatever their new true need was for child care subsidy in each county. So at that point, I reached out to the director and some of her staff, and also looped in the subsidy services section, the assistant director for the Division of Child Development and Early Education, and we had a meeting. We were able to meet early last week, and I just shared my point of view. And my point of view is very simple. Pitt County has sent over $6 million back over the last 3 or 4 fiscal years that could have been spent on children that was on your waiting list. And that just does not seem like it makes good common sense. I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir when I say that those children that are on your waiting list are children that really, really, really need to be in high-quality child care programs. And to revert that much money back, to not spend that much money, does not make sense for the good of the community. Another thing that is happening is child care has been supported through COVID, through some federal dollars. That is ending at the end of December. We will no longer be receiving those additional funds, and it would be very, very helpful to your child care facilities to know this is the level of subsidy children we have in our facilities. The message from the director and her staff was they hope to get through the waiting list by the summer of 2024. During the meeting, I didn't express whether my opinion on that. Me personally, I think that's too long. No doubt the state is going to use the spending trends to set new budgeted amounts, and Pitt County needs to show the state what their true need is in terms of child care sooner rather than later. It would be my hope that some out-of-the-box thinking could take place and that waiting list gets to 0 before the end of this year. I have also reached out to commissioners and the county manager. I did get a response back from the county manager that they were going to reach out and have some discussions about additional staffing needs and that type of thing. So all of that is very promising, but ramping up staffing takes time. And again, I would just hope there is some way to get through the waiting list sooner rather than later, because obviously double work is happening, right? You know, you're getting all this information, putting families on waiting list, and then you're revisiting a lot of that when you take them off of the waiting list. So if you got the waiting list to 0, a family would come in, they would immediately be approved or denied, and then it would move on. It would be a much more efficient process. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kiera. Point's been noted, and we'll take that under advisement.
Jennifer Stroud.
I didn't bring my speech with me. Good afternoon, I'm Jennifer Stroud. I'm a social worker here at Pitt County DSS. I've been here 17 years, going on 18 actually, almost 18. I was coming to speak with you today about some of the issues that we have in our building. Apparently I'm speaking for all of our adult services. There have been a lot of issues here over the years. I feel like we've band-aided and band-aided and band-aided our building to the point that Band-Aids are probably not gonna fix things anymore. I don't know if you ever come in through our DSS store, but we currently have a machine that sits probably this high that runs constantly to get the moisture out of the air. There's carpets that are wet. After this last storm, I came in 3 days after my coworkers, and when you opened the door, the smell was horrible. And so apparently that was some of the issues that came with wet stuff, tiles, and different things throughout the building. I know that since Mr. Rochelle has come, we've been able to work from home. I've had issues with allergies when I was able to stay home. Wasn't having to take medicine every single day. And since coming back full-time into the building, I've had headaches, had to take medicine every day, make sure I didn't miss it, had a cough, and that was within 4 days of being back in the building. Some of the other things that I have done personally, I've put air filter over my vent, so that whatever blows out does not blow into my face. And then the other issue is the bugs that are here. They're big. They say they're water bugs. I don't know. They've run across my desk while I was typing. I screamed. My coworker came running because she thought something had got me. I don't know if there's a way that we can have our building sprayed for bugs, different things. One has fallen off me while I was in the restroom, so now I look at the ceiling every time I go. Just things that are on the building that, social workers were already going into situations that are not the best. So then to be in a building that is also not the best, you have to worry about taking things home with you that you don't want to take home, like bugs, out of your work bag, so you won't put it on the floor, different things. Those could be addressed for us as social workers and employees. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Stroud, for your comments. We'll take that under advisement.
Crystal.
Hello, my name is Crystal Gothier. I've been working here for about 6.5 years, and I'm also here to talk about some of the issues and conditions of the building that we work in. During the time I've been working here,
Excuse me.
yes.
What building you working in?
I work in this building,
This
county
building,
office building,
okay.
yes, ma'am. I actually work for child welfare. I'm an investigator. So, I come and go a lot, because as we get reports, we have to go initiate cases and things of that nature. So during the 6.5 years I've been here, I've actually worked on the first floor, second, and the fourth floor. So basically, I wanted to just share some basic examples. So anytime after a heavy rainstorm, the building leaks. Evidence of this is seen with ceiling tiles that become soggy. They begin to fall on our desks and computer equipment. The ceiling tiles then turn brown as the water begins to dry. If you walk into any random office in this building after a rainstorm, you are likely to find water leaks and water damage. I worked on the second floor from 2017 to 2020. At that time, there was carpet in the office. You could see the water stains in the carpet. When I moved to first floor, they were preparing those offices for in-home services workers. They ended up ripping up all the carpet out of those offices, and now they have tiles laid down. So there is no more carpet in those offices, but I did hear them say that the carpet I don't know if it had mold, but it definitely had mildew. let's see, when I moved to the first floor, the ceiling tiles that were closest to the window, they all had to be replaced. They were in such poor condition that they were breaking down. The white residue was constantly falling on my desk, papers, computer. I was constantly having to wipe down surfaces in my office. Since that time, I have moved to the fourth floor, and I've been there for a year and a half. And this is more recent. So about a month ago, I was staffing with my supervisor in her office, and the windows were being pressure washed. So I guess they don't do that very often around here, but they were pressure washing the windows. The water actually came in through the windows, landed on me, the table, my laptop, and then a whole bunch of yellow jackets came in. So that was very exciting. So then we had to vacate, go to another office. So basically, and then the other thing is, in addition to leaks in the ceilings and windows, anywhere that there's a mechanical room, so there's various mechanical rooms in this building, there has been some type of water leakage, or I'm gonna call it flooding. So just last week, the mechanical room that's next to the fourth floor elevator, and that's the elevator we typically use because the other elevator, it tends to get stuck. I don't use that elevator. So you come out of the elevator and there's all this water just puddling the floor. And so they put up caution signs. I know it took them several days to come. Well, maybe they were coming periodically. I don't know. But I know it took a few days to see someone mopping up the water. I actually just asked one of our buildings and grounds crew what was going on with that room. And he opened the door and pointed out that the pipes are literally just completely rusted. And he says when they're in this bad a shape, they're gonna get holes, the water's gonna leak out. And he says, but look, I put a pan under here to catch all the water. I was like, well, that was nice of you to do that. But that's a temporary fix. And I think he said that they were gonna do something to replace the piping, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Let's see. I also know that when I was on the second floor, there were instances where I don't know what those big mechanical things are, like that, I don't really know what it is, but I just know they tend to flood or they explode. So I had a coworker that was 2 doors down from me, and I know one day just water came like gushing to her office, and everything had to be moved out. They brought in these big dehumidifiers. I mean, it took probably several weeks before she could move back into her office. That happened to another office on the second floor as well. And also what Jennifer was talking about, I know after the tropical storm, it actually smelled, to me, it smelled like cat urine. I don't know why, but it had a terrible, sour, smelly odor. And that's because apparently whenever we have, a lot of heavy rain, I think it comes in through the bricks, it comes in through the windows. I don't know where it comes in, but the building takes on a whole lot of water for whatever reason, and it just comes into the building and it just sits there. So, and I will say one of the impacts it's had on me, I will say, I've worked a lot of different places. Since I have worked here, I would say that I have a much higher frequency of respiratory illness. Usually every 3 to 4 months, I come down with a sore throat, nasal congestion, coughing a lot. Usually takes me about a week to get over my symptoms, and it's not fun to be sick every 3 months or so. But I think me personally, I think it's just my immune system. After 3 months, it's like, okay, I'm really tired. Now you're gonna have a bad cold for a week. I have another coworker that she kept getting strep throat so much from work, and she says it's from working here. She actually had to go get her tonsils removed, and that's one of the supervisors. Well, actually, well, never mind. We'll say she's a supervisor. So I guess I'm here today just to share all the concerns, because this is a very old building. We know that it's a very old building. I don't know how much can really be fixed. So just to create a cleaner, healthier environment for us. But I thank you all for listening to my statements. I hope that you will consider taking necessary steps, basically to just evaluate what needs to be done to correct the issues. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Gauthier. Your points have been taken under advisement. Next, do we have any revisions to today's agenda?
Yes, we're going to, the items for consent have already been approved, so we'll take that off the agenda. And we are not having a closed session this afternoon.
Okay. Can I have a motion to adopt today's agenda?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You all should have received the minutes from our previous meeting. Do you have any changes or edits to the previous meeting minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we're going to have recognition of new hires and retirees.
And it's, we're in the new member, the new board member.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's back up. We're going to swear in our new board member. My apologies.
Kim? Put your left hand on the Bible and raise your right. And then repeat after me. I, Kim Anderson,
I, Kim Anderson,
do affirm that I will support
do affirm that I will support
and maintain the Constitution of the United States.
and maintain the Constitution of the United States.
I, Kim Anderson,
I, Kim Anderson,
do solemnly affirm that I will
do solemnly affirm that I will
be faithful and bear true allegiance
be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers
and to the constitutional powers
and authorities which
and authorities which
are or may be
are or may be
established for the government thereof,
established for the government thereof,
and that I
and that I
will endeavor to support,
will endeavor to support,
maintain, and defend the Constitution
maintain, and defend the Constitution
of the said state,
of the said state,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
I, Kim Anderson,
I, Kim Anderson,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will
that I will
well and truly execute the duties
well and truly execute the duties
of my office
of my office
as a member of the Pitt County Board of Social Services
as a member of the Pitt County Board of Social Services
according to the best of my skill and ability,
according to the best of my skill and ability,
according to the law, so help me God.
according to the law, so help me God.
All right.
Or do I stay?
You're gonna sit up there. And Ms.
Thank you. Welcome, Ms. Anderson. Please join the board.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask our director if she would bring her oath of office and give it to us, if she can have it. And I certainly would like to see her in her ethics training.
Thank you.
And while I'm talking, I'd like to know, are there any other board members here who's not had, that that they have not, because they serve as chair, they need to take the they may serve as chair at some point. They need to take the ethics course. Even though they are appointed people, there are certain things that you cannot do and should be doing.
So, Miss Mary, if you don't mind providing Ashley with that information so she could work on that.
Just talk to Kimberly.
Okay.
Mr. Crooms? Excuse me, could you see to these board members getting ethic training, please? Talk with the manager, make sure they get them. Thank you. Thank you very much. Done.
Thank you. Okay. Next, we're going to have items for report. Ms. Scott.
New hire?
New hires.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead, Ms. Scott. We'll come back to new hires.
Okay.
Thank you. My apologies.
No problem.
Oh, there's something wrong with your eyes today, right?
No. No.
No, it happens, you just teasing.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sonia Scott, the Program Administrator with Family Support Services, and I'm here today to present on our Housing and Homelessness Project. We received, the County Commissioners graciously approved for us to receive $150,000 to be used for our Housing and Homeless Project. Okay. And just a brief overview, we currently have a rental assistance program. That program limits the individuals that we can actually assist. The current program is what we call our 200% emergency assistance program. That program requires any individual to have a child in their home under the age of 17, and the individual must also have some sort of employment or recently lost employment in order to be eligible for that program. In addition, that program only allows a maximum benefit of $300 per person. As we know, the cost of rent has increased over the last few years, and the average rent in Pitt County now for low income is $625. So if a person is behind and have been served eviction papers and they need $1,000, they would have to show us that they have the ability to pay the $700 before we could assist them with the $300. So what we want to do with these funds is we want to expand our eviction program to be able to attract those individuals who do not meet the qualifications of our current programs. Those individuals that may not have a child in the home, that may be on a fixed income, or for whatever reason, we may be able to assist them, and to also increase that benefit up to $600. With that. Just a brief history, if it's gonna move for me, okay. In the past 12 months, we received over 617 rental assistance application. Now, prior to 2022, we only received about 30 rental assistance applications per year. As you can see, that number has increased drastically. Of that 617, you can see our number of approvals and our disapprovals. So we're denying a lot of individuals that don't have children in their home but may still need the assistance due to the rising cost of everything in the community. So with this program, we're tentatively allocating the funds as this. We're gonna use $109,478 for benefits to reach the citizens of Pitt County. We will be hiring a part-time temporary staff member to be responsible for that program. And we're also going to include a financial literacy program that individuals would be required to view in order to be eligible. That program, we are looking at it being no more than an hour long. They can look at it on their phone or whatever it may be, or if they need to come in the office to look at it, they will be able to assist them at all. But please note that if an individual does not have the means to view that, we will not deny their application if they do not have the means to do that. We just wanted to add that as an added feature to maybe be able to assist someone who maybe needs some assistance with financial planning. And that's pretty much it for the program. That's what our funds are going to be used for. And we're hoping to begin this project as early as December 1st, once we're able to hire someone to come in and
I have a
run the
question.
program. Yes, ma'am.
Have you checked with Pitt Community College for the financial assistance program instructions?
We don't want it to be anything where they have to go to Pitt. We want it to be something that they can view from the comfort of their home, whether it be on the phone, and we would get a notification. So we're actually looking at 2 programs right now, where once an individual review the program, it would send us an alert that they've completed that, and then we will be able to approve their application. So we're still finalizing that. And like I said, our plan is to have the program up and running December 1st. Earlier, if we can.
Well, I remember that once upon a time, the Department of Social Services actually provided instructions at various places out in the community for financial assistance, financial education. I used the wrong word. And it was quite helpful for them. So, it's another way you can grow your resources.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, exactly. Any other questions?
Any other questions?
No, I just wanted to add that the reason why that we were able to do this is because we were through James Rhodes in the planning department, and he had ARPA funds, and so we were made part of the process to be able to take a portion of those funds to be able to use for this particular program, because we do turn so many people away that probably really could use the help, but because they don't fit one of those criteria. And Sonia, if you could just add, when those particular items for that particular program, how long ago were those,
Guidelines?
yeah.
2006.
So it's probably something that we need to look at again.
Exactly,
because
we do.
Things have changed since 2006.
I think it would be a good thing. Very good thing.
Thank you, Ms. Scott.
Thank you.
Mr. Avery?
I got one more.
I see her name up here 3 times, Emma. Sonia there, and then Sonia up there. Okay.
Okay, so now I want to go with our child care subsidy program, which is also up under Family Support Services. Just to provide you with some updates as far as the program and where we are with, currently with the program. Just to provide some historical data, you can see the amount of unspent funds that we have, and you can see in the last couple of years, we have returned quite a lot of money. But overall, the state average of the spending coefficiency has decreased. Right now, the state average is at 78%. So it's not anything necessarily new to just Pitt County. It is a statewide issue. Although there are quite a few counties that do not have a waiting list, they are still not spending 100% of their funds due to funding, the extra funding that has been received in the last couple of years during COVID. So as you can see, in 2021, 2022, we did return $3.4 million, and just this last year, we returned $1.3 million in child care subsidy funds. Sorry. And pretty much like our wait list history, we do have the highest wait list in North Carolina currently. As of March 2023, we had a wait list of 1,463. As you can see, for October, we currently have 1,075. Remember that each month, additional children are being added to the wait list. And I'll give you more history later in the presentation as to how the wait list started and what we're currently doing. As a matter of fact, pre-COVID, there were no additional funds for child care. So anyone that came in for daycare assistance had to go on a wait list. That's how our wait list got to be so high. There was no additional funds. So we were not able to add children until assistance was terminated for whatever reason, or if additional money was received. So our wait list increased. So that's why we got up in those numbers in 2016 and 2017 because of that. During COVID, the attention, the federal and state spotlight was put on child care, and additional funding was received. So that also increases the dollar amounts that are unspent each year. And just in 2022, 2023, there were 747 children added to the wait list, in addition to what we already had on the wait list. And you can see the trends there in the graph. And so what our staff do is every month they send out applications to a number of individuals on our wait list. And Prior to January 2023, we had 3.5 staff members in childcare. Let me repeat that, 3.5 childcare staff members. And in addition to that, we also have the complexity of NC-FAS. It takes an average of 45 minutes to 1 hour to key one application or recertification in any program in NC-FAS. On top of that, staff are not only sending out invitations for children to be added to, for children to be invited to receive funds, they have to do change of addresses, change of providers, change of household composition, change of income. Any changes related to that case, the caseworker is responsible for that changes. In addition, they are also required to do state-mandated recertifications yearly for each one of their cases. We have approximately 450 recertifications each month. So we're sending out invites in that, and doing that on top of all of that. Now, I agree with Mr. Carroll. It would be lovely to have no wait list. The staff and I all would love to have a wait list, but it is impossible to have a wait list completely depleted by the end of the year. Our goal is to have it done by summer of 2024. As you can see on this, you can see where the number of invitations we sent out. In January, we received 3 additional staff members due to reclassifications. And I also want to point out that all daycare positions are 100% county funded. Most positions within DSS, there are some type of reimbursement. Daycare is one of those units that there is no reimbursement, so it's 100% county funds. I have been advocating since I took this position for additional positions, as well as the previous program administrator has been advocating for additional positions for this unit. And in January, we were only able to send out 64, and let me explain to you why. That unit is also in a cubicle environment. They don't have separate office. So if one person gets sick with COVID, guess what happens? Your entire unit is out. So there are so many challenges that this unit faces, and that they're not able to put a dent in that wait list like they were supposed to. But as you can see, and I also want to point out that we have one supervisor. That supervisor is responsible for all training and all second-party reviews. When we receive a new employee, we received 3 new staff members in January. She had to do all of the training for those staff members and 100% second-party reviews until she felt that they were capable of doing random quality reviews. So every single case they touched, she had to do that. So that could take 2 or 3 months to get a person properly changed for child care. And so now we currently have 6.5, because one of our case workers is our is an LPA, and I'll explain to you what that is. But in September, as you can see, our numbers are increasing of what we're sending out. In October, we sent out 319 invitees. Our state representative, our state consultant, in our meeting with Mr. Carroll also stated that that is fantastic. Larger counties, the maximum amount they're going to send out is 150. So our staff is working extended hours to get the work done with the challenges that they face. In 2001, the child care staffing unit consisted of 1 supervisor, 5 social workers, and 2 income maintenance caseworkers. In 2022, we had 1 supervisor, 2 social workers, and 2 income maintenance caseworkers. And one of your income maintenance caseworker is our local LPA, which is our local provider agent, and that person is our contact person for the child care providers. So any questions that the child care providers have, she's responsible for that. She's responsible for retroactive provided closures, configuring applied deduction rates, provider setup for the child care subsidy program, and for roster corrections. So she has those duties, and she has a partial caseload as well. And the 3 additional positions we got, as I stated before, were reclassifications from other units that we were able to obtain those positions. And so, as you can see here, these are just, as I've stated before, these are just some of our uniqueness of our program. And we have to do intensive training for childcare because if there's an error of an overpayment, guess who's responsible for that? The county. As of just this fiscal year alone, this year alone, we've already had to pay $9,435 in county errors. And we are randomly getting audited quite often from the state. So that's why it's imperative that our supervisor take the time to train staff and to do the second-party reviews. And so I've already talked to you about some of our issues with funding and our wait list. And so I won't read all of this. You can see some of our issues here. I would like to say that, staff are going above and beyond. They're working extended hours and to get the wait list down. And if we're continuously adding individuals to the wait list and working on the wait list, I can foresee us having this down in the summer if we continue to send out invitees as we have in the last 2 months. Now, I know for sure we will not send 300 out in November and December, but we will send out as many as we possibly can. And we also got to consider we've had, this is a unit that doesn't have a whole lot of vacancies. So we've had one individual to retire in 2022, and then we had another individual to retire in 2023. So those are the only 2 individuals that we pretty much had to leave the unit. So our staffing has pretty much been consistent. It's just that we were understaffed. We weren't short-staffed. We were understaffed in doing the job. So that's pretty much all that I have here. We are working hard, and I'm pretty sure that wait list is going to go down because, like I said, we sent out 319 invitees. We won't know actually how many is left on the wait list until next month. And I will take any questions that anyone may have.
All right, any questions?
Yes. So, Sonia, the historical data that has the dollar figures under unspent funds,
Yes, ma'am.
that's pretty much an aberration from previously before COVID, is what
Is-
you're saying.
yes.
We would not be getting that kind of money
Exactly,
moving forward.
exactly. And at any point in time, they can say, we no longer have those funds. And so, but yes, as of right now, that is correct.
So that's not something we should depend on.
Exactly. And it may last longer because, as I've stated, childcare is in the forefront of state and federal government. So it is a big issue. And also included in those unspent funds, you may have individuals who have been approved for childcare assistance that don't have providers. We don't have that issue in the city limits, but in our more rural areas, there's a lot of individuals that have been approved that don't have a daycare to choose from, or there's a lot of daycares not accepting additional children because they don't have staff. We actually met with our technical assistants for childcare earlier today, and she was like, that is a growing issue all over North Carolina and just not something that's special to Pitt County.
Thank you.
Sonia, could you explain why you went from 7 down to 4 in that one particular year? I know that it's been reinstated, but
As far as staff,
yes.
I do not know the historical reasoning behind that, but I would assume because the funding, there was no additional funding, so they were not adding any additional children. And daycare did not go into NC-FAS, and it was either 2016 or 2017. So prior to that, they had their own system. It didn't take 45 minutes to an hour to process an application. It was much quicker. Once they went into NC-FAS, and those of us that are familiar, and even probably some of the board members that's been here a long time and heard about the nightmare with NC-FAS, it was not a smooth transition to the NC-FAS system as well. So that is part of the reason why we were not able to approve any additional children because the funding was not there. And so those positions were reclassified elsewhere, but I do not know the specifics of why.
How often do you think the NC Fast system goes down?
It's down now for certain, for a certain program, it's been down since yesterday. So,
I know that's been an issue. I don't always get notified of that,
Yes.
but I know that it happens more frequently than I think anybody would
Yes.
desire.
Is there a record for that?
So the state must have a record.
I'm pretty sure the state keeps up with that because they do send out communications with us when there are issues. And most of the time, we have issues when they do an update. And they recently did an update over the weekend.
If the system is down, that's an issue for you?
Yes, ma'am, because we're not able to approve any applications in NC-FAST. We can complete our interview portion of it, but we're not actually able to keep.
That's what I'm saying, is if the system is down, it's not a negligence on your part. The system
Exactly.
is down.
Exactly, yes, ma'am.
I'm asking you, do you record, they know, or the state knows how,
Yes, they know. So if,
they know it's down?
yes.
Do they consider that?
Yes, ma'am. So if we have an untimely application process or recertification, they do consider that. Yes, ma'am. They
So
keep
what-
record of it.
So
Yes,
what do
ma'am.
you do when the system is down?
When the system is down, we normally try to do our interviews because there has to be an interview. We can send out applications, but you can complete your interview portion of it. You just can't key it in NC-FAST.
I understand that, but I mean, if the computer is down, how much time waste is there?
As far as what staff can do, there's always work for us to do because we can still, you don't have to have the NC-FAST system in order to interview. I can interview a person, take my notes, and do all of that while the system is down. It's double work because when the system comes back up, I have to go in, put that information into the system, and key my notes from my interview. So it's actually creating double
So you
work.
don't have a person that can cue in, whenever the system goes up and down, if you have a keyer?
No, ma'am.
You don't have a keyer, so we could get someone else that you can train to key it in?
I think
No.
it actually has to be the worker that has the case, correct?
It could be anyone within a daycare program, but we just don't have, we don't have anyone specialized to do that, no. I will say, NC-FAST is not down as often as it was, but when it goes down, it's usually down for the most of the day.
So Sonia, I'm trying to wrap my head around this very realistic point that you're making, that it may take through the summer to get your waiting list down. So it sounds like, I just want to make sure I'm understanding, if we were to wave a magic wand, the things that would fix that would be that the FAST system would stop going down. You would have more staff, so more than 6.5,
Right,
right? And daycares would have more staff.
right.
And there would be more daycares.
Yes. And that's still, to get our wait list down, the daycare, the number of available daycares and their staffing does not necessarily play a part
Okay.
on that. It's more or less of us having the staff to do that. And even with the
Right.
current staff, we're still projecting summer of 2024. As long as we're continuing to send out the number of invitees that we're currently sending out. We can see that because now we have some staff. We would love to have additional positions to be able to reduce that wait list. And realizing that even if if a magic wand was waved and we got 3 positions today, that's still not gonna deplete our wait list by the end of the year.
Those folks would have to be,
That staff
they
has
started
to be
today, they'd have to be trained.
They would have to be trained.
Sure.
And
Sure.
everyone learns at a different pace. So depending upon the pace at which they learn, you're looking at maybe February, March of them working independently.
Right.
So you're still looking at the summer
Is there anything outside of those summarized items that would help you all
Other than additional
move
positions?
further? Other than additional positions?
Additional
That's really
positions,
that is
yes.
really the key.
That is the key. Because you just can't have someone to come in and just say, help us with these
Absolutely.
applications. Because county errors could cost us more than what it would cost to have someone in that position.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And even if you hired someone temporarily come in, those folks would still have to be trained. And they're trained by one person who does all of those duties that's listed in your packet. And 100% quality, second-party review to avoid errors.
Has your budget ever been cut due to the fact that you sent back so much money?
Yes, ma'am.
This is not, then it hurts your progress when the money goes back.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
And
So at the beginning of the fiscal year, we're given an allocation and every month, our allocation are adjusted based on usage. Yes, ma'am.
you see these unfit funds up here?
But again, those positions are 100% county funded. And so even if we wanted to reclassify some positions, it would still be county dollars because, like I stated, most other positions are reimbursed at some point in time.
So since these are county funds, the sent back doesn't go out of this county?
I'm sorry? When I say the positions are 100% county funds, meaning that there's no reimbursement from the state or federal government, no ma'am.
But I think, Miss Mary, to your point, the 3 million, 2 million, over 1 million does get sent back.
But we
when
don't,
We don't use it.
well, we don't actually, it's not actually given to us prior
Right.
to it. It's money that's just unspent. It's money that's been allocated to Pitt County, and we draw down from it from the state.
As you spend it.
Right. So if we don't spend it, it's just, it's money the state keeps instead of giving it to us. Yes, ma'am.
And Sonia, so for the years that we've not used it, and it comes time for the reallocation, does the state typically, based on what we've used, give us less?
Yes. Yes.
And how much consideration they take in for things like down system?
I mean, that's across the state, that all of those issues, the complexity of NC-FAS, the issues with NC-FAS, as well as a lot of other counties are experiencing staff shortages in daycare. So all of those things are taken into consideration. Yes, ma'am.
So when they take it into consideration, what that means?
So let's say, for instance, if we were able to deplete our wait list and we've used up all of our funds, the state overall is not at 100% co-efficiency. So next month, they may allocate us more money. So we could get less money, we could get more money. If we start spending money, there's more money, then there's a possibility we can get more money. So it fluctuates each month.
Sharon, in your knowledge of this, is there any solutions?
Well, I think a few more staff for her to be able to get through what she's getting through. I think people are, and Sonia, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, you know, they're already doing double duty, they're already working extra time to be able to get through this. And I think it's, even if I could put 2 more people in place tomorrow, it will take some time for them to get trained and be able to do this. So typically, how long does the training take, Sonia? A couple of months?
It depends upon the individual. The last individual we just hired was from another county, and she actually had daycare experience, so she was able to work independently quicker than others. The ones we hired in January, 2 of them had NC-FAS background, which was a plus, so it took less time to hire them. So it just kind of depends on where they're at when they come here, but typically it takes about 2 months.
Do you look to, isn't Pitt Community training on that?
Yes, they hold, the first training for NC Fast, I think, is free of charge. And then there's a second portion of NC Fast that I think they have to pay for. And if I'm misspeaking here, feel free to correct me. And then at that point, they've got the NC Fast training down.
Yes. And let me just clarify, getting staff is not a problem. We've always had very qualified people to apply for the positions. We just don't have any vacant positions. We're not short-staffed, we're understaffed. There's no more positions within this unit. We are 100, where there are no vacancies. So that's not the issue. And normally, it is a promotion, so we are fortunate to be able to get individuals who have that come from the Economic Services Division to come to daycare. So that's not the issue. The issue is positions. We don't have any vacant positions.
Have you asked for more positions?
Yeah.
I can, but that would have to be with the approval of the county manager and the Board of County Commissioners.
Have you discussed it?
I did this morning.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Ms. Scott. Mr. Avery, and then we're gonna have the recognition of new hires after Mr. Avery.
Good afternoon. My
Good afternoon.
economic services update today is brief but good news. In your packet is the Medicaid report card for September, and our processing timely percentage is 96% for Medicaid disability applications and 94% for all other Medicaid applications, and the state requirement is 90%. So we're at 96% in one category and 94% in the other, and thanks to the staff, that is commendable. I'm happy to share, and I'm sure you've read, that the Medicaid expansion bill was approved by the General Assembly, and Medicaid expansion will be implemented starting December 1st. Last night, our county commissioners approved our request to bring on 10 additional income maintenance caseworker 2s, 1 income maintenance caseworker 3, and 2 income maintenance supervisor 2s, so we can begin the process of onboarding and training to accommodate the additional applications we know we'll begin receiving in December. The staff is being funded by Medicaid expansion federal funds that the state has already provided to the county. So at this point in the Medicaid expansion implementation process, it is being funded at 100% at this point. So there are no county dollars having to be used at this point of the 2-year implementation of Medicaid expansion. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
So I have a question that's a little bit related to what Sonia was just telling us. This has kind of been in my mind all week since reading that we were expecting the approval of 13 new positions. Getting folks hired takes time. Getting folks trained takes time. So did you just say you were expecting to start receiving applications in December?
For the program, we will receive some for Medicaid in December. That's
Yes.
correct.
Yes.
That's correct.
So, I guess maybe my question is for Sharon. And we've talked about this before, and I know Jerome has sent some suggestions on advertising positions. Maybe it's even a statement, I just want to make sure that we are incredibly diligent about making sure that these positions get filled as quickly as possible with qualified folks.
Right, correct.
Of course. And so I just wonder what we're doing to advertise the positions outside of just the county website.
So my understanding is from HR that they continue to advertise as they have. And the only opportunity that I've had to be able to do outside of what HR does is through our Allies for Outcomes. We have a contract with them, and they have been putting our positions on their sites. But other than what we do through Pitt County HR, that's my only option.
And has HR been able to express what their hesitancy is with placing it in other avenues?
So I think their previous experience has been that it costs extra money, and they haven't had the results that they thought they would.
What about the county's Facebook page? Is that the same thing as the county, is it the type of, same kind of posting?
I'm not sure.
Is that something, I think social media, I mean, that's where we are. We're in 2023. Social media is how people find out about positions. So, you know, I mean, getting it out to the School of Social Work for, you know, even, there's folks who have graduated that are looking, and making sure that they're aware. Getting, and any social service partners who have social media accounts could share it. So I would just encourage, I guess I'd encourage you to have some conversations with HR around how to get this out in the most creative ways possible. But I think social media and, yeah, I mean, put it out on social media and
The
then.
health department,
Social media. It is, our public information officer puts it on social media quite often. I think it's every Thursday or Friday, she puts it on all of our social media accounts.
So that's great, but then there needs, and maybe this could be something that you or folks in your staff do, Sharon. There's reaching out to all the partners and saying, hey, this went on our social media today, would you please share it? And making sure that there's extended efforts to get that social media to travel. And social media may not be the only answer, but I'm thinking about, you know, December 1st is coming really
Yes,
soon.
yes.
And if it's going to take time to get people trained, then
Right.
I know that that's going to put even more pressure on your staff to work even harder to
Yes.
process.
And I will
This
share
piece.
that we are seeing more interest now from caseworkers working in other county departments that are applying in Pitt County. That's one piece of it, but of course, we're receiving applications from people that have not done the job before, and we're trying to reach them as well, so.
what's the average hourly rate for one of these positions?
I can give you the annual salary, sort of, off the top of my head. It's around 40,000 for a caseworker two. That's just rounded, because I don't have the exact figure. And if somebody comes in as a caseworker one, and they're a trainee in a caseworker two position, it's around 37 to 38,000 to start. So we are hiring people as trainees. They come into a caseworker two position, but they're hired as what's called work against. And for the first year, they're paid as a trainee, and then after 12 months, they move to the salary of a caseworker two.
And I think when you look at their benefit package, it's about 25% of their,
Yeah, the
Salary.
benefits are good.
Yeah, those ranges you just stated, starts out, sounds like about 19 an hour to 21, and then on top of the benefits, so it's possible 25, 26 coming in, is what it roughly sounds like. I
Okay.
just did some quick math.
And what kind of qualifications do they have to have?
Well, they do not have to have a college degree. Some degrees qualify individuals that don't have work experience that qualifies them for the position. So we would be looking at experience such as working as as a teller in a bank, handling financial things at that level, even if you manage an office manager, that type of work experience, working in an office, working with math, finances, those types of settings. And then there are 2-year degrees that qualify for caseworker for the caseworker one position, like a 2-year human services degree or business administration. Any 4-year degree qualifies an individual for the caseworker one position. But the only qualification for caseworker 2 is to have 12 months experience as a caseworker in a Department of Social Services.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
This time we're going to have recognition of new hires.
Okay, when I call your name, if you could just come to the podium, give us your name and a little bit about yourself and the area that you're going to be working in. So the first employee is Dominique Hall. Welcome, Dominique.
Thank you.
And feel free to adjust the microphone.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dominique Hall, and I'm in the Permanency Planning Unit.
Okay, where are you from?
So I'm from Halifax County.
Halifax?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Erica Sasser. Welcome, Erica.
Thank y'all. I'm Erica Sasser, and I came from Lenore County as an investigator for Child Protective Services and Assessments, and I've been doing this job for a little over 1.5 years.
Well, welcome to Pitt County.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good to have you.
And Kayla Holder.
I'm Kayla Holder. Sorry, can you hear me okay? All right. Kayla Holder. I'm on floor 2, joining in-home, and I'm from here in Greenville, North Carolina. Went to ECU, and I'm happy to be joining.
All right. Thank
Welcome.
you.
Welcome.
Welcome aboard.
Great.
All right, new hires, you're welcome to stay or you can leave as you wish.
Oh, it's already 5 o'clock.
Next, we're going to have the Deputy Director's report.
Hi, I guess I'll stay on the theme of staffing. In our child welfare and adult services, services divisions, there are currently about 24 vacancies. That's several teams of people that are out there. And so work hasn't stopped or slowed down to accommodate for those vacancies. So first, I just got to say our staff are working tirelessly, endlessly, nights, weekends, whatever it takes. They are getting jobs done. Are we achieving everything that we would if we were fully staffed? No way, and no way we can, realistically. But when I say they're bending over backwards to meet the needs of our community, they're doing that and then some. I'm roughly here about 2 months at this point, and the things that I've seen be accomplished, I didn't think could have. So the skills and the teamwork and the people pulling together is commendable. So I just wanted to let you know that people are working very, very hard. We are trying to be as creative and resourceful as we possibly can be and utilize positions creatively, teamwork approaches, just whatever we can do to multiply our staff in some ways. So that's a big deal. And I think that every areas that I've identified and that our leaders have identified and that our state have identified could easily be remedied with an appropriate number of staff in place, especially with the work ethics and the skills and the going above and beyond that I see in the current staff that we have today. But while we have this many vacancies, we are going to have some shortcomings. And so I will say the state has been with us in adult services for about 2 weeks. This is our 3rd week that they're here with us, working with us. Our adult services team has accomplished the majority of the serious concerns that they had. And those things are being put in place and structure and organization so that we won't have some of those same things to occur again. But that team is definitely struggling with staffing and having enough people to do the job. Child welfare, also struggling with staffing. There's just simply not enough people to do the amount of work. And
How many vacancies in child welfare?
21,
21 vacancies?
yes, ma'am.
How many vacancies are in,
Excuse me, I told you wrong. 6, 12, 13, 14 in child welfare and 8 in adult services.
okay.
Added at the wrong column. Child welfare has a lot of audits coming up that are big in the terms of our financial implications on the county. There's a 4E audit that's coming, and that is directly related to children that are in our custody, so our foster care kids. It's federal money, and the state is involved in the audit, and that's coming up, and we're preparing those records to look and see what we've got going on with that. There's also some new policy coming down in child welfare where unlicensed kinship providers for foster kids would receive room and board payment. That's about as clear as mud. We're waiting on still some directives on what we need to do with that, but we are internally working to come up with some plans of how we do that. I'm thrilled for this money. I think it will help families. It's a great thing. But it will bring some challenges to us here on how we figure that out and work through that process. The biggest thing is staffing. Then with staffing, like you heard before, it comes training and development. I cannot do with a brand-new social worker what I could do with someone 20 years' experience in this county. And so you have to balance the secondary trauma that the social workers experience and how they deal with that, along with training and skilling them up to be able to do what they have to do. So in that, we're working on putting together training teams to do like mass education across the boards, and how do we train more than one people at a time. We're working on those types of solutions. We're working on solutions on ways to prevent the burnout for the staff. How can we do that? Some ideas that we're talking about are after-hours teams that take away rotations of daytime staff having to cover our after-hours work. And we do have some after-hours positions, but not enough to cover the agency needs as a whole. A lot of these things are things that will take budget work, positions added, and support from county finance, county HR, county managers, county commissioners. So there are things that are in the works, but none of them are solid fixes for today. With regards to the staffing, there is a statewide shortage of qualified social workers going into positions such as these, child welfare and adult services. That's in almost every state, or every county within the state. I do love partnerships with ECU, building interns, bringing interns in and training them. I know we're on site for some interns to start here. I want to build that, I want to develop that. At the same time, I've got to make sure I've got staff to spend time with interns so that interns don't become admin assistants and that they don't come out of here not learning anything. I want to be able to hire them when they graduate. So that takes some development and dedicated staff to be able to do that as well. So I just wanted to let you know that we're working on these things. We recognize some of these things. I'm super proud of everyone. The teamwork, the thinking of things differently than we have, outside the box solutions, those things are going to go a long way. But there's still struggles that we're trying, and mountains we're trying to climb. But we will, one step at a time, get to the top of those mountains. And I can't wait to tell you about how these vacancies get filled in a few months down the line.
I have a question about, this is sort of thinking, I guess, and maybe y'all already do this, in terms of the positions that don't require anything more than high school or GED. Have we ever thought about recruiting from our clients?
Well, actually, yes. There is a person that has some lived-in experience that where she was in foster care. She was a foster child here. And we are working on ways that we could potentially offer her some employment if, you know, the stars align in the right way. We're also looking at, with our LINKS, which is our independent living program for teens that are in the foster care system, we have had 2 young people come into our office and help us with some non-confidential related tasks, such as organizing our food pantry and doing some different things like that, where we're trying to help give them some life experience and some work experience that they could take into future employment opportunities that they may have, but also to help us with some of our staffing shortages as well.
Good, thank you.
You said, how many vacancies?
22.
So, in
Child welfare 14?
6, 12, 13, 14, 15, I'm sorry, it's 16 in child welfare and
Okay.
8
That's 20.
in
Yeah.
adult services.
And 8
I just can't do
And
math.
8 in adult services?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
So I'm a social
Any other questions?
How long
Ms. Mears?
these exist?
These vacancies have existed, I think, for quite some time. And what I've noticed in the 2 months that I'm here, as soon as I hire somebody, I'm getting new resignations. So we're kind of staying status quo. Hiring someone isn't really putting a dent in that.
Do you do exit interviews?
Yeah, yes, Florida does. The HR department does exit interviews.
Sharon, do you get a chance, do you look at the, and discuss with Florida the information provided?
I've asked for some information. I'm not really sure how the records are kept, or if that's information that I would be able to garner from her, but I will ask again.
Oh, absolutely. You are the head of the department. If you haven't found them, let's see what we can do about it.
I just wanted to add to what Ms. Mears was saying, and I reached my 1-year anniversary, and I don't think Pitt County has difficulty in hiring people. I think it's retaining them where the difficulty lies.
Yes.
And what happens is, we'll bring somebody in, and I'll speak specifically to the social workers and the services side of the house. So they have to go to a pre-service training, which is 2 weeks, and then they start getting cases, and they're learning on the job. And none of these positions are easy. It takes problem solving, critical thinking skills that a lot of people just struggle with because they're trying to connect all those dots. And we're bringing people in, we're doing what we need to do and giving them whatever supervision we can on the fly, but we're not coaching them, mentoring them, and supporting them in the way that we need to. And we need to build that into our system, because what's occurring is we're having this churn of bringing people in, we're sort of in a good place, and then we get the resignations, and then we bring more people in. And until we invest in our workforce and support them in the way that we need to, this will just continue. This will not end. And I'm just speaking for Pitt County, but this is true probably in every state in all of North Carolina. I think the Department of Health and Human Services is trying to do better by their training, and it's being slowly disseminated across the state, but we don't have that yet. When I started in Child Protective Services 30 years ago, it took me almost a year of training on and off to be able to do my job, and I truly remember probably about 1.5 years to 2 years in really understanding what I was doing and why I was doing it. And our expectation of our employees now is come in, take your pre-service, and here's your caseload, and go to it. So when you talk about trauma and secondary trauma, I'm sure they're seeing it, they're experiencing it, it's heavy on their shoulders, and not everybody can take that and deal with it. And so until we actually support our workers, one of the things that we Dr. Jennifer Matthews from ECU is actually, we're working out a relationship where she'll be able to come in and provide, do a survey with our employees and then do individual interviews to find out from them. I'm not gonna assume anything. I would like to hear from the staff themselves what they think they need to be supported. And then Dr. Matthews and her staff will provide at least a year-long opportunity to talk about resiliency and give them tools and, some of the skills that it takes to do this work and survive it and cope with it. We've never done that before, at least that I'm aware of. And so it's really looking at our agency strategically. Yes, we need more people, but once we get them, how do we keep them and have them stay and do quality work, and how do we support that work? And so Nikki and I actually have come up with a strategic plan of how we see this rolling out, that I'll be sharing with the board, but really, that's all we've been doing, at least for the year that I have, is we bring them in and they leave. And they take as much as they can take. And I hold no one, I understand people have lives outside of their work, and they're doing the best they can do. And I think, Nikki just attested to the fact that everybody's working really hard. That's not what the issue is. It's the support and the mentoring that they need that we've just not been able to provide.
All right, thank you. You want to continue with the director's report?
Sure. So I appreciate some of the staff coming forward today and talking about the issues here at the county office building. I was at the Board of County Commissioners last night, and County Manager Gallagher spoke to the issues that are present in this building. I think the plan is for the next fiscal year, to do like a study about what needs to be done to be able to move on to a new building and building a new complex. And I think it was 2 weeks ago, Nikki Mears and I, and Tim Corley and the head of Buildings and Grounds walked through the building to see what factors or what things could be done to mitigate some of the odors and the leaks. And what we all know to be true is this is an old building. I hear people all the time telling me, oh, I was born here, my brother was born here, I had my tonsils out here. And I think there's a part of this building that really has had a tremendous influence on Pitt County. But, being older and it's wearing out. And I think to put more money into a building that's already falling apart just probably wouldn't be a good use of money. However, I will say that when you're talking about supporting employees and valuing them, when, water's being dripped on their heads and on their paperwork, I'm not laughing, but, that also sends a message to, are you valued or not? And so I think we try to figure out what can we do in the meantime, knowing that none of this is gonna happen tomorrow, but what can we do to be able to mitigate some of the issues within the building. The board retreat, Ashley, we're all set, we have a date, and do we have a place?
It's gonna be in the EOC down in the basement.
What day?
Where it floods?
I believe it's December
It's the 5th.
7th.
It's the 5th.
Excuse me.
Time?
The 5th is gonna begin at 11.
December 5th
Yes, ma'am.
at 11.
I sent out, invites to it last week.
I can easily miss it. I got more than 6,000 in
So everybody has their local social services board books. This is brand new, hot off the presses. And Christine Nicoderm is gonna be actually doing all of our board training together. We'll have lunch, and then hopefully by that time, Nikki and I'll have our strategic plan to share with the board and get your input to what we have planned. And we would really appreciate any additions to it or suggestions that you have. you know, we're kind of going by what we see the needs are and what's available to us, but I would appreciate the board's input as well. And we did go, Nikki and I did attend a personnel and professional development conference for DSS directors, and so we were able to talk about creating an inclusive workforce, which diversity, equity, and inclusion, and that was provided to us by Kimberly Dickerson from the UN School of Government. We also talked about, and Christy Nicoderm was actually the person that presented, was preventing and responding to charges of EEOC. And then we were able, the following day, to talk about creating great workplaces. And Leisha DeHart Davis from UNC School of Government was able to provide that information. So we're getting the PowerPoints that they use that I'd like to be able to share with the board as well. But all of it was really good information to have, and we appreciated that we had the opportunity to participate.
Okay. All right. This time we have board member comments.
I'm good. You got anything?
I don't have any comments. I'm excited to be here and to serve. Thank you.
Glad to have you.
I have a lot to say. I want to say welcome to Kim. I'm very excited to have you here on the board with us, and I know you're going to bring us a lot of new ideas. I want to say thank you to the few staff that are left in the room. Sonia, there's a giant pole in front of me and you. But I know that we asked a lot of questions today, and I hope that you know that those come from a place of care and concern and how can we brainstorm how in the world to help you. Because you all are doing incredible work. You have my utmost respect and thanks. So thank you for all that you all are doing. I want to say thank you to the staff who came and spoke today. It is incredibly brave to be a staff member of an organization and come and speak in front of your director and your board about things that aren't real happy. So I really, really appreciate the courage to come and speak, because if you don't tell us what's going on, we don't know, and we can't begin to help brainstorm what to do. So I'll say that. And Sharon, I just want to say I'm really excited to hear you say that you're getting ready to work with Dr. Jennifer Matthews. Her passion around secondary trauma and the training that she will provide your staff is absolutely phenomenal, and so incredibly necessary. I teach some of those students that you are getting next semester in my class currently. So we did an entire session the other day around tools to use when you're experiencing trauma in the moment, not scheduling something for next Friday night, not scheduling self-care for next weekend, but what do you do right now in the moment while you're with your client? And that's a lot of what Dr. Jennifer Matthews will provide them with that will help them remain well throughout the day. And that will contribute to overtime. So I really encourage you to take full advantage of that. I'm really excited to hear that that's happening for our staff. Yeah. That's all.
I would like to welcome Ms. Anderson to the board. Okay. And then just kind of echo what Kylene said to the staff here at DSS. And from what we heard today, obviously there's a lot of hard work going on, but some of it under some pretty not pleasant circumstances. And so we really appreciate you coming and sharing those experiences with us. And Sharon, sounds like you're having some communications on trying to address some of these. So let's see how that progresses going forward. Thank you.
Welcome to you as Deputy Director. Looking forward to the wonderful things you do. You have a good spirit for it. And to Kim, welcome. I'd like to know a little bit more, like where you came from and what you did and how long and that sort of thing. I like to say that I like to see the Pitt County Social Service Department, this is a department, provide in every place a communication that tell the staff, regardless of the building that they're in, that they can provide a suggestion box. I think a suggestion box, and it doesn't have to be unanimous. I think people should be able to speak without feeling pressured or retaliable in their having statement or doing their work. Everyone learns at a different pace. I'm aware of that. And it takes some more than others. But I do believe that there is a way that you can deliver training without being a regiment officer. And a little laughter every now and then may help your staff. And I don't know how you get that when you are overburdened with it. I like to see statistics that comes out, and I like to see them written so I don't have to keep them in my head, because something is going on when you get good people, because I know you're not hiring bad people. So when you get good people, I like to see us keep good people. And that means that supervisors got to be human, caring, and cautious about how they talk to people. I don't know the staff. Before you came, there was always an email in the box. I like the fact that I don't get emails all the time, but we have a lot of new people, and they may not know how to express themselves. So for some, between the two of you, however you do it, I think you need to find out, as the chief administrators in this unit, what the employees' opinions are about their work. And it needs to be unanimous, and it shouldn't have to be, wonder who wrote this. It should be, let's see what the problem is, and then you can say from the suggestion box and send it to your staff. And just say what the issue is, and have people make a comment. Because a lot of things, when you release stress and pressure, then you get good work.
That's true.
You sing a song, some people might not like it because you don't have a note, but it will get the work faster done because it does something for you. So I like to offer that suggestion to you. As far as the building is concerned, the county, wake up over there. The county is commissioners. Last night is looking at putting money aside so that we can start making efforts towards, we're not gonna build this building in 2 years, because this is a lot of people to replace here. And we're trying to get, from what I understand, the effort is to someday have social service in one building. That has been conversation. And certainly the administration of Pitt County government is stressed with all of the problems that falls in it. Because I was walking up one day and I thought the porch was gonna come down on me. And I thought that was not a good impression of who we are, because we like to see our buildings and ground looking beautiful, wonderful, inviting. Said, gosh, I wonder what they're doing. I need to come and work over there. So I like very much to see some changes of whatever is happening. Because if you're losing 24 people after you had 24 good folks, we should be running out of the country. Good work. That's just my thought, just my complaint. It's not a complaint, it's just a suggestion, a recommendation. But we do have to look at what is happening in Pitt County.
I will let you know that we do have a team working on a survey right now.
Thank
to
you
go
very much.
out and some morale boosting activities coming that are planned for the rest of this year.
Has the organization had a Christmas party? in the last years or something. Maybe you can find something in your budget where you can do something good. I'm just making suggestions.
No, so there was no money in my budget, but when it was social worker week, we did a pizza and salad and luncheon, and that was on me for both buildings. Because I wanted to.
You go, girl.
Because I wanted to, I try to do things, as little as they might be, but, you know, I try to do breakfasts. We did Christmas cards, and I put a scratch off in there, not that I want people to gamble, but, you know, they might have struck it big, and so I try to think of things that are unique, but yet to let everybody know that I do think about them and care about them, and,
Oh, there's no doubt about that now. I really think you care about the employees
Yeah,
here.
I do.
I really do. So, those are my comments, and I try to make my comments to not only let you know how I feel, I like to express them that's concerning for me. It's very concerning. And, maybe we can get something out. If we're gonna we should have had some of those comments when we had our retreats, and the people might could help us with them or something. I'm finished. I'm going on, but this is enough. If I was supervising, I'd come in and crack a joke every now and then and walk out the room. Because I might laugh for a little while, then they turn around and say, she got to be crazy. That makes it stay, because laughter is really good for the soul.
yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'm finished, and I offer the motion that we retire for the day. I got another meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
We stand adjourned.